let them go buck wild. Asking for donations is wild. Because then, that feels like a lose-lose. Number one, now you know, because it's out there, in the back of your mind, when this tiger goes to eat, it's going to be eating some poor cat that was just maybe on my street a week ago. But also, how do you, guilt, you cannot be someone who owns a pet and then turn it into the zoo guilt-free and basically be like, okay, here you go. If you don't want a dog or you don't want a cat, you could still donate it to a shelter, find maybe someone else who you can at least give it away and at least feel good about yourself. I'm not just leading this poor cat or dog or horse to slaughter. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. Denmark, man. They do things different. Holy cow. It is Ryan Hickey right here in for Bill on Rider Than You. So I thought this was really interesting. So yesterday, the Jaguars announced their depth chart for the first preseason game, and it had Travis Hunter listed as a starting wide receiver and a second-string defensive back. If it's me and I'm Jacksonville, I'm flipping that. I would much rather play Travis Hunter more at defensive back than I would at receiver. And it was interesting. Their head coach, Liam Cohen, was on with Rich Eisen yesterday, and he said that he expects Travis Hunter to play 80% roughly of the offensive snaps. So he's going to be on the field a ton, which would mean, right? Look, I know what Travis Hunter says, and he says he wants to play every snap because he did it in college and he thinks he can do it at the NFL level. He's not playing every snap offensively and every snap defensively at the NFL level. It's just not possible. It's too physical. It's too tiring. He's going to get worn down way too quick. The NFL speed and physicality is way different than college's speed and physicality. You're going to have to make a choice. And it seems like, at least right now, Liam Cohen is choosing to play him more on the offensive side than the defensive side. I just don't think it's worth it for two reasons. Number one, you have Brian Thomas Jr., so you already have a really good receiver for Trevor Lawrence to rely on. Your defensive back depth chart, for me, is not as strong. I think you need more help defensively, not to mention it's a lot more difficult to find good defensive backs than it is to find good receivers. You look at least the offensive depth chart, you have Dimey Brown, you have Parker Washington, and some receivers that could play offense if Travis Hunter cannot. Defensively right now, your starting defensive backs are Tyson Campbell and Jarrian Jones. No disrespect to Jarrian Jones. There's a bigger drop-off at defensive back, the second defensive back, than there is a bigger drop-off at the second wide receiver spot. So I'd much rather have Travis Hunter playing DB than receiver, just because I think the talent is less for the Jaguars at DB than it is receiver. The other thing is, it's really difficult to find and develop a lockdown defensive back that's not a first-round pick. You look at the best defensive backs right now in the NFL. Patrick Surtain, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Marlon Humphrey, Trent McDuffie, Christian Gonzalez. All guys that were taken in the first round, all guys, with the exception of Trent McDuffie, who's taken 21st, all guys taken with top 20 picks. Defensive back is a position where you need to draft them at a premium, with a premium pick into the top 20 to have any sort of hope of them panning out. You drafted Travis Hunter too. It's easier to find a receiver in the fifth round that can plug and play and be productive than it is to find a defensive back in the fifth round to play and be productive. Play him at DB. It's the more valuable position. It's the harder commodity to find. When you trade from 5 to 2 and you give up next year's first round pick, I think you're getting much more value by playing Travis Hunter 80% of the time at DB, and let's call it 40% of the time at receiver, then vice versa. We had Eric Edholm, does a great job covering the NFL. He said he expects Travis Hunter, maybe 2-minute situation, maybe end of the game situation to play defensive back, but mostly play receiver. I think that's personally a waste. For how good Travis Hunter is at receiver, to give up a first-round pick next year to trade up to draft him to primarily pay receiver when you already have a good guy in Brian Thomas Jr., that's a waste of resources. A waste of a first-round pick next year, if you ask me. Play him at DB first, receiver second. That music, unfortunately, means our time here is done. A big thank you to Nico Scarlatos. Did an excellent job producing these last 2 days. A big thank you to you. Thank you for making us a part of your morning. Again, if you missed any part of the show, do check out the Rider Than You podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. Andrew Bogus will be back with you tomorrow. This has been Ryan Hickey, in for Bill Rider, right here on Rider Than You.
Get into the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event and get away with a deal so right it almost feels wrong. Because right now, you can get huge savings on their most popular models, including the adventure-ready SUVs like the Hyundai Santa Fe and Santa Fe Hybrid models, or go all-electric and choose from America's most awarded EV lineup like the breakthrough Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 6. So get down to your local Hyundai dealer and get away with a great deal. Only during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for details.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Let's go!
Happy birthday, Pirate Radio!
Join Pirate Radio for the annual Pirate Radio Football Kickoff Party, Thursday, September 4th, for a night of music, friends, and fun. Come meet the Pirate Radio crew and dance the night away with the main event band. Tickets are only $10, and all proceeds will go to the Jeff Charles Scholarship and the Heather Ann Pertee Scholarship. Grab all your friends and party like a pirate on September 4th. For more information or to get tickets, go to pr927fm.com. Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
Want to make your day better? Order a large original crust one-topping pizza from Papa John's for only $9.99. Take advantage of this awesome carry-out special now by logging on to papajohns.com and make today a pizza day for only $9.99. Papa John's is the MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards and start earning points from your favorite menu items. Go Pirates!
In Pitt County, everyone's a college student. At every age, at every stage of life, from every part of the county. They're parents and police officers. They're nurses who work nights. They're hairstylists and handymen. They come from every walk of life. And they're all getting ahead without taking on loads of debt. Continuing education at Pitt Community College, where everyone's a college student.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Parker Bird for my friends at Shimmer Boutique. Arrivals are here from all your favorite brands like Kinder Scott, Yeti, Local Boy, Pimp Shrimp, Simply Southern, and a lot more. Shop now at shimmerboutiqueonline.com and receive free shipping on all orders over $100. And don't forget, Shimmer is your place to get your very own Parker Bird shirt, available in youth and adult sizes. Shimmer in Greenville, Winterville, Jacksonville, and shimmerboutiqueonline.com. Go Pirates!
At Children's Health Services, we understand the importance of your child's well-being. This is Dr. Chris Osmick, and our mission is to provide comprehensive, patient-centered health care through every stage of child development, starting the day they are born in the hospital. We are not just here to treat illnesses. We are here to partner with you on your child's health journey. Schedule your appointment today to build a brighter, healthier world for your children. Children's Health Services, Arlington Boulevard, Greenville, or soon to be our second location on 10th Street. Go Pirates!
Phelps Chevrolet is the dealer to see for a car or a truck or an SUV. The best service and quality. That's the Phelps guarantee. Phelps Chevrolet, the name you can trust. Phelps Chevrolet, you can count on us. The name you can depend on. Phelps Chevrolet.
Get you one.
There's a common misbelief today that to make it further, you need to push yourself, that you need to give up any joy to continue your rigid routine. Or you could try another way. Take some time to enjoy life, like having a Michelob Ultra with friends, because happiness is essential to living an exceptional life. Michelob Ultra, a refreshing and balanced flavor with only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra, proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989.
Do you ever talk to yourself about where to eat today, and then you hear
Warren's Hot Dogs.
Then you're thinking, yeah, 2 hot dogs, chips, and a drink for $7.50 would be awesome.
Warren's Hot Dogs.
And maybe some homemade lemonade, perhaps a pizza or a sub, and definitely an apple or peach turnover.
Warren's Hot Dogs.
Don't overthink where to eat today. Go to Warren's Hot Dogs in Greenville across from Ron Ayers, or in Chocowinity next to the fire station. Warren's Hot Dogs, serving the Pirate Nation since 1991. Go Pirates!
This This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the pirate nation. This is Eastern North Carolina's longest-running sports radio call-in show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show on Pirate Radio is brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, Gavigan Insurance, Greenville Auto World, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, QC Kinetics, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
And now, here's Brian Bailey.
Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome into the season debut of the Brian Bailey Show. We're like the Daytona 500. We have our best guest on the very first show. That's how it is. The Super Bowl of NASCAR, the Super Bowl of the Brian Bailey Show. Blake Herrell, head football coach at East Carolina, joins us to update us on fall camp. Coach, how's it been going so far?
It's been going. I heard you getting a little nervous. I wasn't going to make it in the door. Come on,
well,
now.
3 minutes till. I was kind of giving you a 3-minute warning, but I knew you'd be here.
I appreciate that.
I knew you'd be here. We'll also take your questions or comments on our YouTube live page on Pirate Radio. So we've got a complete hour with Blake Herrell, head football coach, coming up next. Here with Brian Cook, the comptroller for Greenville Motor Company and Greenville Auto World. Talk a little bit about the financing options that you provide.
We're here to help anybody from bad credit, poor credit, rebuilding credit, or great credit. We find the best deal through over 30 lenders here that we work with every day, and we're focused on finding the best fit for all our customers.
One website, 2 outstanding dealerships, Greenville Motor Company, Greenville Auto World. Try us, trust us at driveherenow.com.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
This is John Gavigan with the Gavigan Agency. Our top priority is doing what is best for our members. Whether you are buying a new vehicle, a new home, protecting your family with life insurance, or filing a claim, our agency will be there every step of the way. Our goal is to become a trusted advisor for you and your family for all of your personal and commercial insurance needs. Give us a call in Greenville at 756-1400 for a car, home, business, or life insurance quote today, and give us the opportunity to show you the benefits of doing business with someone who cares.
Hey, Righty, you feeling okay? You've been dragging all day.
Ugh, don't even talk to me, Lefty. These shoes are a disaster. My arch is crying.
Dude, we have to go to Fleet Feet. They have a 3D scanner to customize shoes for every foot.
Wait, like custom fit? For me?
Yes, you and me. They have the top brands such as OnCloud, Brooks, and Hoka, plus many more.
Fleet Feet, where fit happens. Schedule your appointment at fleetfeet.com or come in today and treat your feet right. Find your perfect pair at Fleet Feet.
Hot days, cool deals, summer sizzles at Bostic Sugg Furniture. You'll find sizzling savings on hundreds of items in stock. Save on beautiful living room furniture, dining rooms, and bedroom furniture. Save up to 70% off clearance items, plus 6 months special financing. Raise up your sleep level and get a free motion base upgrade with Beauty Rest Black or Helix mattress purchase with up to 60 months special financing. Hot days, cool deals, summer sizzles at Bostic Sugg Furniture. Now that's hot.
Jimmy John's hot sandwiches are here.
Jimmy John's hot sandwiches are here.
Hot sandwiches are Jimmy John's hot sandwiches are here.
Hot sandwiches are here. The pilot can't steal?
No, Jimmy John's hot sandwiches are here.
That's worse.
Jimmy John's new hot sandwiches are finally here.
Get ready for a crispier, crunchier, meltier, gooier Jimmy John's experience. Toasted sandwiches are here. Try the brand new toasted category or get any sandwich in the favorites category toasted to golden perfection. Jimmy John's in Greenville and Wilson and online at jimmyjohns.com. Go Pirates!
Pirate Radio, serving the great community of Greenville and beyond with the best content on air and on digital. You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Tuesday. I've been saying Monday for so many years, but we decided to move it to Tuesday, and we think it's going to work out well. I talked to Coach Harrell during the offseason. He said he thought it would work well as well. And he's here as far as the first show is concerned, and so we're glad to have you. When you look at camp so far, I mean, what are some of the things that really stand out about this camp so far?
Yeah, we're on practice number 8 today. We started last Monday, went 6 straight days, and I had a good one yesterday. Then we're back at it this afternoon and be number 8. But just the way the kids, like so far at this point, they keep continuing to work. They continue to have great energy. I thought yesterday, I told them, I said, you got great effort, you got great energy. We can get everything else fixed. We can start to focus in on now the little discipline pieces, the execution pieces of each, play call or scheme or whatever it may be. But without the effort and the energy, you can't worry about that stuff. You have to go back to that. So I feel really good about the base of it. Now we got to start focusing on the other piece, and we'll scrimmage this week and kind of see if we can get to, the coaches aren't holding their hands so much anymore. Right now I think we got coaches kind of doing a great job coaching, as I think I mentioned yesterday in the press conference. But they're a little bit holding the hands of the players. We need to kind of turn the reins off of them and let them go a little bit.
And, I've been out to most of the practices that we're allowed to go out to, and it just seems like the guys are running around. Sometimes you get to camp and you can kind of look at the body language, and people dread being out there because usually it's hot or usually, things are going on. But so far, you guys had a lot of heat early. Then you had some really nice weather lately. I know you want to turn the heat back up, don't you?
This feels like fall weather.
It does now.
Kind of gets you excited about fall football and just the fall time in general. But last week was record-setting heat.
Yeah,
I think we started meetings last week about 8:30 in the morning and got on the field at 7:30. We're off by 9:30. Today we're going to practice this afternoon about 2 o'clock in the middle of the afternoon. That's unheard of in August. What you really want to do?
Yeah, and really the weather it kind of fits for a practice because it does feel more like late September, maybe early October right now. Is that the reason you moved it to the afternoon, just to give something different?
A couple of reasons, and I told the guys just a few minutes ago. We had our walkthrough this morning. Is one, I want to give you more than 24 hours to recover from practice to practice if we can, just to help your body out. That way you can go full speed. I said that's part of it too. I said our first 3 games are at night. Right now, we don't know what time the BYU game is. At some point, we're going to play in the afternoon this year. So I want to make sure we practice in the afternoon, practicing that time of day. Tomorrow, we're going to practice at night, and we'll play our first 3 games at night. So always practicing at different times of the day and getting accustomed to that and just, been there, done that. That way, when it's the real thing, we're ready for it.
This is a very odd schedule that you guys have this year, and this is putting the cart way before the horse. But when you look at that week with BYU and then Army, do you start working on some Army stuff, now in the preseason and kind of, get some of that stuff done? Because that's going to be, we talk about short weeks,
right?
But short weeks against really good football teams, that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, we've always kind of, throughout the years, kind of put a little bit of option emphasis on camp, especially as the defensive side of the ball, whether it's formation alignment, running through some plays, or just getting your scheme ready and go. And this year it's kind of, that's game 5.
Right.
You're coming off 4 non-conference games, a big game versus BYU, a top 25 team, 20 team probably. And you turn around and play Army, who was a top 25 team last year, won the conference championship, and on 5 days. And, so it's going to be a short week, but an exciting week. We've got back-to-back home games with 2 teams that were in the top 25 last year and who expect to be really good this year. So it should be exciting for Pirate Nation.
We've got a lot of football before that,
No
but
doubt.
I did want to get that thing in there. But, in camp, when you're playing a team like NC State in that first game, does that change camp a little bit as far as just the focus? Because it's not like, and this is no disrespect to a Campbell or a North Carolina A&T or anything like that, but we all know a State East Carolina game's a little different.
It's easy for me to say, we focus on us.
Right.
Our opponent is us every day, and that really is our mindset. We don't go through the building talking about NC State and talking about opponent number 1 and those things, but it's in the back of their minds. It's in the back of coaches' minds. It's just human nature, and we're always looking to the next game, and that just happens to be the next game. And we always say the next game is the most important one, and it certainly is, but we got a lot of work to do before then, and we got a lot of ball to get in, and we got some live situations we got to get fit into to get ready for that moment.
We were in Charlotte together for the American kickoff, and the ACC was right down the street. And I told somebody before we left, I said, it's going to be really quiet. It's going to be crickets on the state side and crickets on the East Carolina. But it wasn't quite crickets, was it? Were you surprised that some of that stuff came out?
Yeah, I think, I'll tell you that we just focus on the Pirates. And
I knew that was coming. Here comes the standard answer. Yeah. I tell you. All right, Kenny just sent us a note coming in. Says, Coach, what went through your mind when you walked out to that Military Bowl game crowd that night? Yeah,
that was awesome. And I tell folks all the time, what Pirate Nation did that night and the energy they brought that night made all the difference in the world, and probably won us the ball game. Like, we were out there warming up. I was like, it's just sad that this is kind of not great weather and it's not going to be a great crowd. Then we came out of that tunnel right before pregame, getting ready to run out. I was like, holy smokes. I could hear the players behind me talking about how loud it was and how packed out it was and the energy. And that energy really carried us. The first drive, we get a stop on 4th down. Offense gets the ball, goes right down the field and scores. And just that energy carried us throughout the game. And I think that was a huge piece to victory up there in Annapolis.
You look at a bowl game and teams kind of, some teams want to be there. They play well. Some teams act like they don't want to be in the bowl game. In this day and age with NIL and players leaving. But you get to that game, and obviously it was State in East Carolina, and you guys had played so well, and then you fall behind in the second half.
Yeah.
And then, you get the comeback win. I mean, I've gone over this. I can't wait to talk to John David Baker again about it. But on that call on 3rd down and 10 for, deep inside your own territory. And, man, Rajay, bless his heart, man. He just took off and ran some more.
What an awesome way to finish just, an end of the season, just kind of the way we went through that thing and just the way it turned out, and no better storybook ending than having it in Roger Harris's hands and put it in the box.
And you think back, Roger's always been a good kid, always had a smile on his face, but when he had that devastating injury, I think that was...
it was in Boca Raton versus South Florida.
I knew it was against South Florida, but I kept thinking the stadium was different, but it was in Boca Raton because of the hurricane situation down there. And just seeing him come off the field. And then, seeing his tweets, almost day in and day out, 1%. And he was just so determined to get back. And then when he came back the year before, he just didn't have that burst.
Right.
But he had that burst this last year, and he had that burst that last run, didn't he?
No doubt. The most important run, too. So.
Most important run for sure. The momentum of a bowl win like that, how far does that carry you into the spring and into the fall camp?
Yeah, and I keep saying this, like, you cannot take one play, one score, any points from last season into this season.
Right.
But what you can take is the confidence and the momentum that you gained. So just our players know that, hey, how we finish the season, the confidence they gain from that, playing with an ACC opponent, that gives them confidence going in the offseason. And it makes, the workouts go smoother. It makes the spring ball, the summer training, and preseason camp. It sets them, hey, we're already here. We already have that confidence, that swagger. Now let's go perfect what we do. So.
And you look too. It was a bowl win. It was a great victory. Pirate Nation absolutely loved it. And now you set sights on the first game State, but you also set sights on competing for the American Championship.
Yeah, and it's one game at a time. Obviously, we have our team goals, and we'll talk about conference championships and those things. But it's one game at a time. It's about the process, not necessarily focusing on the outcome. I think if you always focus on the process and focus on what's in front of you today. And for us at 2:30, that's practice. And make sure we go have the best practice we've had yet. And then after that, it'll be meetings and so on and so forth. And tomorrow, we'll repeat that. If we focus on that process, we'll have an opportunity to play well and get a win on game day.
How do you like, getting in and getting out of camp practice? Exactly, pretty much on time. I mean, it's like you've got a game plan for how long we're going to be out there, and you get them in and get them out, and it seems that maybe that down the road will pay dividends and save some legs down the road.
Well, that's kind of the purpose of it, and just being organized and detailed about everything we do. If we're going to ask our players to be organized and detailed, let's be organized and detailed about how we structure practice, how we do things. We talk about it's not what we do, but how we do it, and that's just, if it's a 5-minute period and we get everything in, let's move on. And making sure that we don't schedule 10 minutes when we only need 12 plays or whatever it may be, and, adjusting that stuff. So just being efficient. And I think Hunter McKay, we do a little every morning thought of the day, devotion of the day, and it's just, each coach does it around the room. And Hunter McKay was his morning doing it. He was talking about being intentional and talking about being deliberate. And he was talking more about being as a father and how quality time and spending with your kids is so important. It's the same thing at practice.
Right.
Having quality over quantity. And that's just, I think in all aspects of our lives, that's huge.
Yeah, and it really is. And really, when you think about some of these kids, they kind of look at their coaches and their position coaches as, a father-type figure. And that's just what it is.
Well, these young men, they're awesome young men.
Yeah.
And just a lot of fun to be around. But at times, we all need a little mentorship and all need a little guidance to help us reach our goals. And that's what, we as coaches, the old stage coach goes back to from getting point A to point B. And the coach, that's what we do for our athletes, help them get from point A to point B, whether it be on the field, off the field, in all aspects of their life.
Jim writes in and says, how do you prepare your team to block out the noise that the state crowd will provide during the game coming up in Raleigh? Do you do some extra speakers in practice?
Yeah, we have that music always turned up.
Yeah,
and
there's some music out there, and some of it's good. I like some of it. Some of it's different.
I agree, both ends. and sometimes it's it's a little annoying, too loud, and you're yelling and like, ain't nobody can hear me yell, so I don't know why I'm yelling. But some of that's just the vibe for the players,
right? But
the other piece of it does provide is the communication. We always talk to our players about communication, visual and verbal. Make sure like I get if I'm signaling something, you just signal it back. We call it sign and cosign. And then we have to go through the whole dissertation about how you co-sign on a loan and all that, and teach them what that is. But it does help with that, the noise level that we expect up there. And I also expect that Pirate Nation will be pretty loud up there on August 28th as well.
Oh, I think so. As long as they can get a ticket somewhere. Other day I heard Aerosmith, I heard Boston, I heard the Doobie Brothers. I mean, I was in my truck waiting to go out, and I thought, man, this is pretty good. And then later on, I heard things I've never heard before, but it's just different.
I love when they play the old school rap, little Snoop Dogg and stuff.
Yeah. A little bit of that cranked up, but you got to. It all. There's a method to the madness, I guess, with all the noise and
I keep trying to get them to play some Chris Stapleton, but I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of that yet. Get some country music out there. That would be good. Kenny also wanted to talk about the defensive line, and we'll go through all the position groups coming up in a little bit, obviously. But while Kenny's listening, what about the defensive line? What do you think?
I'm excited about the group. I think inexperienced, obviously, but we got an opportunity to possibly start 4 seniors up front. And just as a whole front, and feel really good about them athletically. Just can we progress as quickly as we need to and get them game ready? Obviously, when you lost the guys that walked out the door last year, they played a lot of snaps.
Right,
and
a lot of snaps.
When you have that experience, it says a whole lot. And these guys, I do think, have the potential to be better, but they just haven't played the snaps. So we got to progress them, keep moving them along, and at some time we'll see a really special group there at some point in the season.
And you've got some kids that from the local area that are doing some good things on both sides of the line.
No doubt. I mean, Zion Wilson's a kind of a local guy from East North Carolina that's playing really well up front. And on the other side of the ball, Bryce Weaver and Panda Askew are both doing a really good job. And both are pushing to play with the ones, and excited to see where they continue to grow this preseason camp.
How important is that to you to see not only local kids do well at East Carolina, but to go out and recruit those kids?
Yeah, I think it's huge.
Yeah.
I think anytime you can find a guy that East Carolina means more than just hey, I'm going to university to play or an institution to play football. This is my home. I know about the Pirates. I know about the background. I know what Dowdy Ficklin means. We try to do a great job educating our players. I think Friday night, Coach Shankweiler is going to talk to our players just about the history of Dowdy Ficklin.
Wow.
And just what takes place in Dowdy, how Dowdy was built, and why it's so special and all that it means. And he does that from time to time, just about the history of our university. And sometimes when you're from another state, it's not really your fault, but you don't know about the history of the school or who played there before you. And I think that's so important that we teach our young men that. But, I think like in Bryce and Panda's case and Zion's case, those guys already know that. So, you're not always going to be 100% on it. You're going to make mistakes in one way or the other in recruiting. It is what it is. But you just try to make the best decision and move on.
How important is it to have a guy like Coach Shank on your staff to provide information like that?
Steve Shankweiler is awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Just from the perspective, not only for our players, but for me. And just, hey, Shank, how did y'all do this in the past? Or how was this done in the past? Or, who is this or who is that? It just kind of helps me put everything where it needs to be and keeps me straight, so to speak. And just a ton of knowledge there, and really appreciate having him around.
It's funny because when you describe Blake Herrell as the first-year Pirate head coach, well, it is your first full year as the Pirate head coach, but you had some kind of deal trying to win the job, which you did, and then of course the bowl game and everything that ended up that season last year, which was heading south, and you turned it around, and that in itself, and I know you don't want to hear this, but I have hopes that my Cowboys have a similar situation because Brian Schottenheimer takes over. He was on the staff there, and he's got a new culture working out and stuff, and I'm thinking they might come around.
Well, for Siobhan Revel's case, I sure hope they do.
That's right. That's right. I heard he had a little bit of a setback with his rehab, but
yeah, we'll see.
I hope he can come back and get out there soon.
Siobhan's a worker. Siobhan attacks things. And I trust he'll be fine.
I'm glad to see a Pirate on that Cowboy blue and silver, because that way you have to root for him a little bit.
No doubt. We the other night we had Keaton on, a little video for our players to see. I think J Mac's coming up soon, and Siobhan will be next. But just trying to make sure our players hear from those guys during camp about what they're going through in their camp experience.
Right.
What they focus on and what their mindset is, just so they can see how a pro attacks it as well.
Yeah, and a lot of guys are sitting in a situation where they hope to play, on the next level at some point, and they can see that it can happen from East Carolina.
Well, what was so cool, Keaton's saying the same thing coaches may be saying, but just the way they were locked in.
It comes from Keaton.
Yeah, it's so I think sometimes hearing it from a different voice at a place where you want to be too.
I saw one of his runs in camp the other day on a video. Man, he
looked good in that.
He really looked good, and I hope he's 100% healthy, because when he's healthy, there's nobody faster than Keaton Mitchell.
I think his best football's ahead of him.
Sure. I hope so. All right, let's take a commercial break right now. We're once again on our YouTube page. We'll take your questions, your comments, that kind of thing. Blake Herrell live in the studio for the next 40 minutes or so. Back with more on the season debut of the Brian Bailey Show right after this.
This is a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes. In Major League Baseball yesterday, the Astros beat the Marlins 8-2. It was the Pirates over the Giants 5-4. The Guardians survived the Mets in 10 innings 7-6. It was the Red Sox over the Royals 8-5. The Brewers beat the Braves 3-1. It was the Reds 3, the Cubs 2. The Rangers beat the Yankees 8-5 in 10 innings. The Blue Jays beat up on the Rockies 15-1, and the Cardinals beat the Dodgers 3-2. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes.
Make things happen this year with the new John Deere. In just one visit to Quality Equipment, you'll find the right lawnmower, compact tractor, or Gator UTV that will save you time and money on your next project. Keep things running all season long with the help of our experienced parts and service team. Your new Deere isn't far away. Find current offers and budget-friendly packages at your local Quality Equipment with 36 locations across North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit QualityEquip.com to get started. That's QualityEquip.com.
Big news from the Rick House. The Rick House has a brand new menu that you're absolutely going to love. New on the menu are creamy garlic parm chicken pasta, crab cakes, and our new porterhouse, half filet, half strip, tender and juicy, and grilled to perfection. The Rick House is the area's bourbon authority, featuring Willet, Jefferson Tropics, and the Frank Sinatra Select by Jack Daniels. The new menu features new, lower prices and $4 drafts all summer long. The Rick House, Red Bank Road in Greenville.
The stifling heat of summer, the bitter cold of winter. What do they have in common? The extreme temperatures of both force your home's heating and cooling system to work overtime to keep you comfortable. And that can cost you a lot of money. Fortunately, your neighbors at Greenville Utilities have several ways you can save energy. And that means saving you money on your utility bills. Just go to GUC.com and look for ways to save. That's GUC.com.
Are you thinking about purchasing a new home? Stop by and see us at Integrity Home Mortgage at our new location in Greenville at 1420 Arlington Boulevard. This is Talbot Green at Integrity Home Mortgage. We offer a wide variety of loan programs to help get you pre-approved. Our team of Talbot Green, Braxton Green, and Joanne Weir has over 50 years of experience and is committed to providing you with superior customer service you deserve.
To get started, call me, Joanne Weir, at 531-1148.
Joanne Weir in MLS 75974.
For informational purposes only, Integrity Home Mortgage Corporation is an equal housing lender. NMLS 208516.
At Tiebreakers, we pride ourselves on serving
Big, juicy wings.
I'm talking
Big and juicy.
Our chickens are the same ones that kick sand in the other chickens' faces. If our chickens played football, they'd be linebackers. The competition's chickens, they'd be
Skinny little kickers.
Trade those kickers in for linebackers. Join us today for
Big, juicy wings.
all season long at Tiebreakers.
Tiebreakers, with 2 locations in Greenville and on Railroad Street in Winterville.
Pirate Radio.
And all you can say is arg.
Arg. The voice of the Pirate Nation.
Terrific.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to the season debut of the Brian Bailey Show. Blake Herrell, head football coach at East Carolina, live in the studio with us, taking your questions and comments on our YouTube live page. Jim has another question, wanted to know about turning around the hostile environment at Carter Finley Stadium so your players won't be intimidated by it. I don't think they'll be intimidated at all, but it can get kind of rowdy depending on how momentum goes, because if momentum switches to the purple and gold, the state folks may be worried about it.
Yeah, I think anytime you walk into a stadium, you walk into whether it's home or away, you would notice that crowd initially, but once you get in the game, get playing, your focus is on you, your assignment, your job, the next play, all those things. So I really think that's where our focus will be, was on us.
When East Carolina has had success, in playing in Raleigh against NC State, and they've had obviously success in the bowl game.
Yeah, and that's all the things that helps build you confidence and build, not only our players but our fans, our coach, everybody. So excited about it.
We were talking at the break, and the situation with Lampley, Carr, Spalding. You got those guys back. I'm sure they had to do some punishment type things and that kind of thing to try to earn their way back. But that's a situation that's going to probably work itself out. Do you think?
Yeah, they're still going through the processing, still going through the procedures there, and they've rejoined some team activities, but still suspended indefinitely at this time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the update as far as that goes. When you look at camp and trying to keep everybody fresh, are there any other things you're going to try to do to try to? I think you try to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sunday you took them. I think you had a couple of off the field activities on Sunday on their off day.
Yeah, we did. And this week we'll take another off day on Thursday. The NCAA requires so many off days within the month, and last week was the only week we went 6 days straight. From here on out, I think the most we go in a row is 3 days. So that's a good way to keep them fresh and keep them healthy and all those things. And I think you got to continue to do that, mix it up, because it is a long time until we play. You got all of this week, all of next week, and then we start to kind of turn in our focus to our first opponent.
Yeah. How exciting is that going to be when you finally get to game week? And it's going to be a weird game week because it's not going to be the normal game week. It's going to be, a Thursday night game. So that kind of alters things a little bit. But still, you work so hard in camp, and then you finally break camp and start practicing for the first game. But that's got to be just...
And you just get tired of seeing the other side of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of get tired of going at each other and know exactly what each other's going to do. And then you get to start focusing on an opponent, and that's pretty special that, hey, it's really here. It's right around the corner, and let's get ready to play. Because at some point in camp, it's just like you're going at each other, back and forth, and, hey, let's go focus on somebody else, play a real opponent. So
when you're playing at NC State, and obviously it was an ugly situation at the end of the bowl game, but how do you get guys to understand they've got to keep their emotions to themselves? And it's going to be really difficult against an arch rival like that. Right. All it takes is one on either side.
Yeah. No, it's certainly a focus, and certainly something we've addressed. Our culture is like, let's ride, relentless, intense discipline, and that's discipline in everything we do, on the field, off the field. It's bigger than just about me. I can't make a decision that's going to highlight me. It's got to be about our team. So we got to keep that at the forefront.
When you look at trick plays, somebody just wrote in and said something about the use of trick plays in a game.
We got a bunch of them. We're going to start, play 1, 2, and 3.
With that. But Steve Logan used to always say that people call them trick plays, but we only run them if we're 99.9% sure they're going to work. And
I wish I always felt that way about every play.
That's right. Do you like when JDB comes up with something, or would he, if he has something up his sleeve, does he come to you and say, boss, if we line up here, and here, and I think this guy's going to bite here, I think this is going to be a great chance to run a halfback option or something like that. Does he come to you first?
Coach Baker and our offensive staff do a really good job of just, keeping the focus on our bread and butter and what we do and how we can move the ball, but also coming up with unique ways and creative ways to move the ball down the field or find explosive plays. And they've done a great job of that, and they'll continue to do a great job of that. And looking forward to it. And, my offensive input is just going in there and look really like, hey, here's what I think can hurt them, and that's about it. I think I got to be careful I don't get in the way more than I help. So there's a fine line there too.
During a game, and you get down to 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, you're at midfield, and you get 2.5 instead of the 3. Yeah. And the decision has to be made: do we go for it? I mean,
you got to make that decision long before the 3rd down. Okay. And I thought that's what me and Coach Baker did such a great job of just communicating that back and forth throughout the game last year. Of, hey, if you can get it to this, we'll go for it on 4th down. And that helps him make a decision on 3rd down exactly what he's going to do. Is he going to try to run the football, or is he going to try to, throw a quick game to get to a manageable 4th down or 4th and short? If he knows that decision, on 1st down or 2nd down, that can help him, figure out the series and how to set up the plays and set up the 3rd down, those type of things. And then sometimes you get down the field and, hey, we need points here. Hey, Coach Baker, probably, unless you get to 4th and 1, we're going to kick the field goal here, just to let you know. Yeah. So, and, also, just speaking of field goals, I'm feeling really good about that competition in that room as well. We got 3 guys in there that they've kicked at an all-conference level, and excited to see them continue to compete.
Well, somebody just written in and said, who are the kicking specialists? What have you got?
Yeah, so we got Conrad back. Andrew Conrad's back. And, he's been in and out of injury and still fighting that a little bit. And then Noah Perez, who kicked a little bit last year as well, is back. And then we've added Nick Mozzie from New Hampshire, who was an all-conference in that league. And all 3 of those guys are having a really good camp and booting the ball. And I think they're even going to add some range to where we had last year. So I feel really good about it.
Wasn't it Conrad's kick that beat BYU? Looked like an ugly duckling, one of the worst kicks I've ever seen, but it went through and counted for 3.
Hey, it's always pretty when it goes through the H.
That's right. And it sure did. I'll never forget that kick, because he kicked it, and I had that and then it went through, and the celebration was on.
The most important part is if it goes through the uprights. I don't care how it goes through, as long as it goes through the uprights.
I asked Alex Harper at work last night. I said, you got any questions for Coach Harrell? He said, ask him who's going to be a snapper this year, because he doesn't have me anymore.
That's right. For the first time in a couple of years, we're looking for a snapper.
Yeah, I tell you, he's doing a good job with us over at WNCT, and it's always good. Yeah, I tell you this, it's always good to have former football players or any former athlete, on your staff over there, because they can take it a little bit. I mean, if you say, hey, Alex, you got to do this a little better.
Well, that's kind of their lifestyle. They better be able to take coaching and take criticism and adjust to it and make something better out of it. And a lot of our players, former players, kind of always hit me back up, hey, you know of anything in Greenville that might be open job-wise? And they enjoy Greenville. They enjoy this area, and they're looking to stay here and work. So that's always neat to see as well.
Now they're all looking for free tickets when they get out.
I'm sure they'll figure out a way.
Trying to get to Pirate football. Hadn't talked about hardly anything but the state game. But do you like your home slate? Do you like the home schedule?
I do. I enjoy our schedule. I mean, it's a tough schedule.
Oh yeah,
it is what it is. But that's what kind of makes it fun, and that makes it exciting. I mean, you got the NC State opener up there in Raleigh, turn around, play Campbell the next week for a home opener. It'd be fun. And go to Coastal Carolina. It'll be a tough one down there, but I think it's a regional game that our fans can get to. And then you come home for a BYU game that we've already talked about. It'll be who knows? They could be top 20, top 10.
They could be top 15, top 10, for sure.
I think they'll be 2-0 when they roll into Greenville as well. Yeah. And then you turn around and play the American Conference defending champs in Army. 2 weeks later, go to Tulane, who was in the conference championship.
Yep.
And then you return for the night of the Boneyard against Tulsa on a Thursday night. And then you don't play any Saturday games in October.
That is the crazy. I tell people that, and they look at me like I have 2 horns in my head. I say, they don't play any October Saturdays at all. None. There's none. Yeah. It's just and only 2 games in October.
Yeah.
And once November hits, it's like bam, 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 bam.
Rolling in November.
You come rolling.
Start out in Philadelphia at Temple. Yeah. Which I think is going to be a much improved.
I talked to their coach at the American. He seems
Coach Keeler. I think he's a real deal. He's been around and been very successful.
And he had a lot of positive things to say about Greenville, about East Carolina, about you. So I think I really like talking to him.
He's a good one. And then we turn around and come back for homecoming. Got that team down, where we were for media days.
Yeah. Old Charlotte.
Yeah, old Charlotte. And then got them, and then turn around the next week, another home game against Memphis. So that'll be good. Then we go to UTSA, who didn't lose a home game last year. And then we end the season at FAU in Boca.
And the last time we went to UTSA, I thought that was a really entertaining football game. Pirates were in it for a while. And
I didn't think we played particularly well, but
that's a neat place.
It is. It is neat to play in a dome. That was my first time playing in a dome. And it was a neat environment.
I was going to ask you, and one year we went to Boca twice, I think. So you've been to Boca before.
Yeah.
And then the trip to Coastal. Have you been to Coastal at all?
When I was at the Citadel and Coastal was still in the FCS, we played them in the playoffs, and we kicked a field goal there to win it in the game.
Yeah, it's a great facility down there. And they had ripped all the turf off the field when we were down there for the Conway Regional, and it was kind of neat because it was gravel all the way through. Yeah. And you got a big stadium right there, and you got all this gravel all over the place. But I think that's going to be just a neat atmosphere, and I think that's a game that's kind of like the Liberty game last year. I think that games like that are going to be. Yeah, I hope we don't get any rain like that.
Not anything like the Liberty game. No. Not the rain delay, not the outcome.
Oh, yeah. You ever started a game that late in your whole career? That was awful.
Yeah, the Houston game wasn't that late.
No, it wasn't that late, but it was a long day.
The Houston game, I always felt like, when we're sitting around, waiting around, it's like, okay, we're going to kick this off. We got to kick this off. Right. It's a conference game. When we were up in, Liberty last year, I got to a point where I didn't think we were going to kick that one off.
I did too. Yeah. I thought for sure they were just going to go ahead and call it. We were just going to ride home.
Yeah.
And we rode home after the game back to Greenville. That was the longest ride, I swear.
Got back in its daylight, 7 in the morning, time for breakfast.
Oh, yeah. That was a long time. But better days ahead. We got a brand new season.
That's right. Out the windshield, not the rear view.
That's exactly right. All right, let's take another commercial break. Back with more with head coach Blake Herrell here on the season debut of the Brian Bailey Show after this.
Play it again, sport. Buy, sell, trade. Great deals never felt so good. So good, so good, so good. I saved a bunch of cash. Buy, sell, trade. Using my gear like I never knew I could. Play It Again Sports. Buying and selling new and used sporting and fitness equipment for over 27 years right here in Greenville. Located on Greenville Boulevard across from the Nissan dealership.
Miss, your burger is served.
Thank you.
And if I may suggest a pairing, this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. The sweetness of Pepsi perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger, while the citrus and carbonation elevates the taste for a truly stunning flavor profile. Bon appetit.
Now that is one perfect combination. If this is how the other half lives, I could get used to this. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft, and Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
There's a common misbelief today that to make it further, you need to push yourself, that you need to give up any joy to continue your rigid routine. Or you could try another way. Take some time to enjoy life, like having a Michelob Ultra with friends, because happiness is essential to living an exceptional life. Michelob Ultra, a refreshing and balanced flavor with only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra, proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989.
I'm Michael Vaughn with East Coast Grading and Utilities. Many of you know my dad, David Vaughn, and his work in putting in subdivisions all over Pirate Nation. But East Coast Grading and Utilities is not just for those type of big jobs. We're here for the homeowners. Whether it's concrete, driveways, hauling rock, or sand, whatever you need, East Coast Grading and Utilities can get the job done. Call us at 252-531-7494 or check us out on Facebook at East Coast Grading and Utilities.
Want to make your day better? Order a large original crust one-topping pizza from Papa John's for only $9.99. Take advantage of this awesome carry-out special now by logging on to papajohns.com and make today a pizza day for only $9.99. Papa John's is the MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards and start earning points from your favorite menu items. Go Pirates!
Pirate Radio. We work like captains.
And I'm your body captain. You are going to put on your dancing shoes and rock it.
And party like pirates. You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to the season debut of The Brian Bailey Show. Another question coming in, talking about all the new players. How long will it take them to really gel at 100%?
Yeah, we got a little over 50 new players since last season.
That's hard to believe.
It is. I think that's kind of the new
new normal
landscape of college football. And what I'm most impressed with is not only those guys have done a great job of coming into the program and saying, what can I do to help? Well, how can I help us win? How can I contribute? Not being, hey, how many touches am I going to get?
Right.
So they've done a great job of that. And then the players that were in our locker room have done a great job of welcoming them in and then showing our culture and kind of making sure we're all on the same page. And I feel really good about that piece of it.
And that's got to be one of the hard parts about this whole new normal is that, guys want to come in and want to play right away. Right. But you can't promise them playing time because, all you can do is promise them the chance.
There's no doubt.
And they've got to come in.
Everything in our program and what we're about has to be about being earned.
Right.
You earn.
I think you said that, too, after the first day of camp in the press conference. It's got to be earned.
Earn the spot on the team. You earn the right to go make the travel squad. You earn to be second team or first team or start or be all conference or whatever it may be. You earn revenue share, whatever it may be. Nothing's given, and that's what life is. If we just go around life and we think it's going to be given, I think we're setting ourselves up for failure. And our guys have really bought into that and making that important.
You may have to run for office at some point.
Nah, I don't.
That sounds good.
No piece of that.
I don't blame you there.
I'll let PJ Conley take care of that.
There you go, PJ, our mayor. All right, if you look at the final 6 games offensively, the numbers are staggering. 38.2 points per game, 498.8 yards per game. Pirates go 5-1. What was the difference as far as turning this thing around offensively even?
And those numbers look really good, Dave Brian. What I'm looking at them is like, man, if we could just score 38 points a game right now and
win some games,
put those yards up, I think we'll have a chance to win a game. I just think it all came together. Caden was a huge piece of that.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of Caden this offseason, and not what necessarily he's doing on the field, but off the field, the way he's leading our football team and the way he continues to attack that and just wants to be a big piece of that and wants to lead from the front. So he's doing a great job with that. But I thought he was hitting on all cylinders. Thought Coach Baker, just got a really good feel for it. And I just see our offense continue to take off right now.
We talked to Caden after one of the big Pirate wins late in the season at home, and we were outside waiting. I think we were waiting for the coach for your press conference to finish. And I said, Caden, now the story is they got to figure out a way to keep you because obviously in this day and age. And he just smiled and he said, "Man, I love it here."
Well, it's
not going to be a problem. I love it here.
I think I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. How proud I am for him the way he's leading, but he wants to be a Pirate.
Yeah.
He loves Greenville. He loves Pirate Nation and very comfortable here. And he wanted to come back and make sure that he continues to help move us forward.
And you look at a kid who was a starter in the Big Ten program. I mean, he could have stayed there and played a long time. But
played at a really good high school in California, was in the Big Ten, was a starter there. And we're blessed to have him.
Blessed to have him, and he's just a perfect fit, I think, in Pirate Nation because he's very personable and he likes talking to the fans and just wants to play well, wants to really excel for this Pirate football team.
It's been the first time we've had a quarterback back since the 21-22 season when Holton was coming back.
Yeah.
So I think that anytime you have a quarterback and you have that guy back there. If you don't have them, it can be tough to win games, whether it's Friday night, Saturdays, or Sundays. If you don't have a quarterback, this game is tough. But when you have one that's played, it makes things go a little bit smoother. It makes you sleep a little bit better at night.
How much better can the offense be this year?
I think those numbers right there are pretty challenging to beat.
That's what I'm saying.
Those are pretty tough. I was looking at it, but I'm just excited about where we are compared to a year ago. I don't compare us to where we were at the end of the season. That's tough. That's kind of an unfair comparison. And I just think same thing as our D line. We lost three stars on the offensive line who were seniors. We lost Raji, who were seniors. And we're replacing those guys who I feel really good about, but they don't quite have the number of snaps under their belt that those guys had. And if we can just, gain experience, gain those, those lessons, I guess is the best way to say it, as quickly as possible, and will help us be better football players, I think we get a chance. But, that may take some time.
What's the strength of the offense? Is it the wide receiver room?
Well, I tell you this, that wide receiver room is a lot of fun to be around.
They're good, too.
They, Anthony and Yannick, and just the energy they bring. They go attacking practice every day, walk through every day, whatever it is. They're bouncing around, picking on each other, whatever it may be, and got a good positive vibe going over there. And that's kind of contagious. And they are a lot of fun to watch. And I think not only do they make our offense better, they make our defense better because they challenge them each and every day.
Talk about your quarterback room a little bit behind Caden. What do you have there?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the quarterback room, and it obviously all starts with Caden. But I think Raheem Jeter's had an outstanding preseason camp. The progress he's made from last spring to where he is now has been outstanding. We brought Mike Wright in, who's a veteran guy who's played a lot of snaps and doing a really good job of learning the offense and learning the scheme and kind of fitting in, and excited about him as well. And then we got two freshmen that continue to get reps and continue to grow as well.
When you look at a guy like Mike Wright, will there be other plays put in because of his skill set?
Coach Baker is not really a two quarterback system guy.
Right.
Kind of, if you're rotating two guys, maybe you don't have two, you only got one. So
that's the old saying, isn't it?
That's kind of the saying. So you really want to focus, and Kate's done a good job of just being the guy. So don't fix something that's not broke.
Yeah, well, but obviously he came here to try to, I guess it kind of like an insurance policy too. I guess
no question. I mean, you're talking about a guy. I think he started 20 games in his career, played over 30 games in his career. Just to add that experience to that room or any position, it can be valuable to your football team. And I think if you look back at the last portal window, the guys we added to our team were 5th, 6th-year seniors that had experience. They're older guys. Maybe they haven't started games for East Carolina, but they've started games somewhere in college football, and they can bring experience to our team and help us grow.
On that same subject, Jim writes in and says, how many times in your career have you had 3 quality quarterbacks like you do this year? And he did ask the same thing, Mike Wright, with there being special packages during games for him. But that's again, an insurance policy, very a secure deal that you have. If something, and you hope Caden goes through the season unscathed, never gets a bruise.
No question.
But it happens.
Yeah, it does. And we knock on wood, it's not going to. And defensively, our rule for years was rule number 1 gets to number 2, and but at the same time, feel good about Raheem and Mike and the progress they're making. But let's see if we can keep Kate upright and attacking and in a uniform for us.
Interesting question here that came in from Robert. Says, if the indoor facility was complete, would you still have shortened practices?
We would just use it differently. Sometimes, like last week, it was really hot. We'd do walkthroughs in the gym. You would use it for the walkthroughs. We may do pre-practice in there. I would still go outside and get in the heat a little bit.
Yeah.
And our shortened practices aren't really shortened practices,
Right.
We got.
I think it's kind of a misnomer when we say that.
Like we're practicing. Like today we'll practice 2 hours. We're practicing like what we call two spots. So we got field A with 2 groups over there, and field B with 2 groups over there. So they're getting the same number of reps in as if we were on one field.
Right.
Then that becomes a longer practice. I've always hey, the more people we can get involved in doing something, the better off we are. Why not have 44 guys going at one time, getting reps in rather than just 22 guys? Let's get as many reps as we can because I think you learn through repetition.
As a head coach, how does that change after practice when guys are watching tape? And what kind of tape are you watching after practice?
Would you rather watch somebody else's golf swing or your own golf swing?
That's right.
That's probably the best way to say it is you want to watch yourself on tape. You can watch another guy on tape and learn, but at the same time, you want to go do it yourself. You want to watch your mistakes, make your corrections, or see what plays you make. So I think it's important to get everybody reps and help them grow. Whether it's sometimes you're like, well, you're getting the third team center reps. Well, yeah, you may look up in some point in the season, you may have to result to a third-team center. You hope you never do. Or that third-team center all of a sudden may become the starter. I think last year, I just brought this up in camp the other day. Jamarian McCrimmon, who's our starting tackle right now, last year he was running with the threes, a little bit with the twos, but in camp he was with the threes. Well, I think by game 7 he was our starter and started the last 6 games for us, and it's a really good offensive lineman right now.
And you really, I mean, that's part of the deal. You never start, you never finish with the same group you started with.
Right.
And I always say this about the running back room, and I think your running back room is exciting, but it seems like every year at East Carolina, you think about the depth at running back, and then all of a sudden you get into game 5, 6, 7, that it kind of dwindles down, doesn't it?
Well, there's a lot of snaps to be played in a year, that's for sure. And offensively, you're looking at over 1,000 snaps. Defensively, hopefully closer to 800 snaps. But so if for a young man to go play that many snaps, a lot of football, you want to have some depth and build that, and you got to build that through practice and the way you do things.
How important is the tight end position in this offense?
It's huge. I think Coach Baker would tell you that's probably the hardest position.
Yeah,
they got to know the most, and they got to learn the most exactly. How we align things and how we do things, and excited about that group. Deshario Riles has done some good things.
He has
preseason camp.
Certainly,
he's changed his body. He's put on some weight. Looks really good. Improved in the blocking game. And Javante Connor's done the same and made some really good catches and continues to block. And then we moved some guys around. Miles Parker's over there, giving us another guy in the tight end room as well. So excited about those guys. You got some freshmen in there that continue to come along.
You touched on the offensive line a little bit, but talk about the who you got. Is the old 5 pennies 1 nickel deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, excited about that. Emmanuel Poku, Kojo is back, and Jamar McCrimmon are the 2 returning starters, and both played really well at the end of the season for us. Cooper Trinaski is the transfer from Newberry, who's playing, kind of playing a lot right now with the ones and doing some good things. He's got to continue to grow and move along. And then Kyle Long, we mentioned the 2 guys earlier, Bryce and Panda Askew are playing pretty well. And then Darius Bell, who's a 5th-year senior, didn't play, started some games last year and didn't play as much at the end of the year, but is doing a really good job right now as a center. And don't see him like, he's taken from the spring. He was kind of just going through the motions. Now he's kind of leading that unit. He's kind of directing them. Him and Bryce both doing a great job with that.
How about on defense? Now, take us through the defense a little bit. Give us a little synopsis on what you've seen, because obviously, as a former defensive coordinator, you know a lot about those guys anyway.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where my eyes are naturally drawn to.
Right.
Good and bad. I think the defensive coaches, including Coach Aldridge, probably wish I go spend a little more time for the offense. But
go see what JDB's doing.
Yeah. But just kind of your eyes naturally get drawn there, natural to linebacker. And I think, we have an opportunity to possibly start 7, 8, 9 starters on defense seniors.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't started, as I mentioned before, games for the Pirates, but they played a lot of football. They've might as well been called a starter because they were playing 50% or more of the time, or they've started somewhere else. So I feel good about the experience and depth. I just haven't seen them do it in a purple uniform in Dowdy Ficklin. So I want to see more of that. And I think we got to continue to be perfect on that side of the ball and continue to hone in and be great tacklers. I think early in camp, I think the one thing was standing out to me is just our tackling right now, and that's usually probably every coach would say that the first day of pads, your tackling's not great, but we got to continue to get our feet to contact, step on their toes, and bend our knees, and keep our eyes up.
I noticed yesterday there was a lot of emphasis on turnovers, holding on to the football. I mean, those running backs, man, they're running through all these things, and then you got people whacking them with this and whacking them with that. I mean, they held on to the football.
We start, we have a plan to win. There's like six steps to it, and the number one every day is, or number one on plan to win is it's all about the ball. And offense is taking care of the football. Defense is ball security. I think we're second to last in the nation in turnovers last year, so we got to definitely improve on that. And so we focus on that to start practice every day. And it's either some type of ball security or ball disruption, depending on which side of the ball you're on. And that's got to be where I focus on and make sure we take care of business.
Do you look at that defense and say, we're really strong in this area, but we got to work more on this, or is it kind of just a group that's kind of...
I think we run exceptionally well. I think we move sideline to sideline exceptionally well. I think we, as a group, cover really well. We got to continue to win the one-on-one matchups, the one-on-one battles. And, our focus today and tomorrow in practice, particularly, are going to be just, hey, we got to make sure we stop the run. I just talked about playing to win. Was part of that playing to win is win the rushing battle, and that starts defensively by stopping the run. And we can't just say we're going to be that way and talk about it. We got to go practice it that way too.
That's the key. You got to stop the run and you got to run the football. And you guys really want to run the football.
Well, you think 5 out of the last 6 games, I think we rushed for over 200 yards and won the rushing battle. And the one game we lost, we didn't. So I think there's some pretty good hard stats right there to help you support why it's important.
Pretty good numbers right there. Blake Herrell, our guest on the season debut of the Brian Bailey Show. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up with Coach Harrell getting back at the practice field. They've got practice this afternoon. Back to wrap it up after this.
Eastern North Carolina, it's your guy, Roger Harris. I train to be the best on the field, but even more, it's about being my best for them. I know my joints won't heal on their own. Arthritis, it's coming, unless I stop it. Prevention beats pain. QC Kinetics use your body's own power to heal, rebuild, and restore. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Don't wait until pain sidelines you from the game of life. QC Kinetics, regenerative medicine, real results. Call now to schedule your free consultation. 252-645-6458.
Need to sell your house fast without fixing or even cleaning it? Call the Turner Home Team.
Hey, this is proud ECU alumni Justin Turner with the Turner Home Team. We buy houses as is in any condition for cash, and we can close in just days. As a real estate investor and licensed agent, my team and I can give you options when you need to sell. Sell fast or sell for top dollar. You choose what's best.
Call Turner Home Team or visit theturnerhometeam.com. They'll make a no-obligation cash offer for your home today.
Turner Home Team. Pirates supporting pirates.
Looking for something better than bottled water? Reach for Chili Water. Pure, ice-cold refreshment straight from the Black Creek Aquifer right here in Eastern North Carolina. No plastic bottles, just clean, crisp water in ocean-friendly cans because you deserve better. Made by Carolina Ice Company, 3 generations deep, and named for a local legend who loved fishing, music, and the great outdoors. And now, Chili Water is shipping 12-packs straight to your door. Every can helps protect the water we all love. Chili Water. The good water in your hand.
Michaels & Gateway Cosmetic and Family Dentistry has been Greenville's premier dental practice for over 40 years. I am Dr. Chris Gateway, and our mission at Michaels & Gateway is to provide exceptional dental care with compassion, integrity, and innovation, ensuring every patient leaves with a healthy, confident smile. Doctors Michaels & Gateway are committed to providing an outstanding patient experience with every visit. Not only do we offer all your dental needs under one roof, in most cases, we can take care of those needs on the same day. Bring your smile to us at Michaels & Gateway Cosmetic and Family Dentistry.
At Langley Contracting, we're superior roofing specialists. Whether it's a new roof or repairing your old one, we've got you covered. And best of all, we handle your insurance claims. We are locally owned right here in Eastern Carolina. We are licensed and insured and have a 25-year roof warranty. We can handle your gutter installation too, so everything is seamless. Call or visit us online at 214roof.com for your free estimate today.
Langley Contracting, your superior roofing specialist.
Looking for the perfect summer hangout? Swing by Fish Street Hardware Restaurant and Tap Room for our Midday Munchies lunch menu, just $10.25 Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 3. We've got 46 cold draft beers, a killer Sunday brunch from 9 to 12:30, and our regular menu every Sunday, noon to 7. Your new Sunday Fun Day destination. Enjoy live music every Friday and Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m., and follow us on social media for more events. Check out the Repair Shop game room with pool tables, darts, and more, or kick back on our dog-friendly patio with the best staff in town. We're serving up good vibes at Fish Street Hardware Restaurant and Tap Room all summer long, where good times are always on tap.
This is Coach Gary Overton, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, working for our community, not for shareholders. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show as we wrap up this first edition of The Brian Bailey Show. So good to be back and having the coaches on and talking football and previewing the next game or talking back about the last game. And it's just, I've been blessed for so many years to get a chance to do this, and certainly appreciate you coming on, Coach Harrell. Now, you've got the first scrimmage of the year coming up on Saturday. What are some of the things you want to look for? How much do you play some of the starters, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's probably be our biggest scrimmage of preseason camp.
Okay.
Because you don't want to have your biggest scrimmage being scrimmage 2, because I think at that point, we're 13 days out from the game. If you were to have too many plays and lose somebody, it could affect game 1. So this week will be kind of our bulkier, heavier load of practice. But I want to see guys, when the coaches are off the field finally and nobody's around, let's go play at a high level. And I know, you're going to have some mistakes, but are we going to play hard? Are we going to play with great energy? then yeah, we'll go back and clean some of the stuff up. But some of the stuff going on right now is you have your whole playbook in because you're trying to get all your installs in forward that you might use throughout the season. At some point, you'll start kind of pulling those back and reining those in a little bit, so it get a little bit easier for the players. But we'll just go turn it loose this week and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
You'll have referees out just like a regular game. Will you do any kicking at all in the scrimmage?
We will. We will. We'll go ahead and get our kicking in. We'll have officials out there. And we've had some officials at practice, and we even take some of our strength staff and put them in officials from time to time.
I bet that goes over well, doesn't it?
Yeah, they make just as bad a calls as everybody else. So. But yeah, it's we'll try to get as close to a game simulation as we can.
How hard is that on the sideline when you are the head coach? Because you only had 6 tries at being the head coach last year, but still, when something's going on like that, I mean, there's a fine line between getting your point across and overstepping the boundary.
Yeah,
but you got to fight for your players.
There's no question, and I think. In some ways it might be just a little bit easier to do that this year because of I'm not calling the defense, but at Tulsa I really got really upset because all I could think about was the first time I was out at Tulsa, and I didn't want to replay of that and
that Indian burial ground that is Tulsa.
But yeah, I think sometimes you gotta and I sent some of our coaches down to the officials have like a conference they have down in Dallas and just go over some different stuff, and I sent about 3 of our coaches down there more so to build relationships with those guys. That way when I destroy it, they can have but no,
all that goodwill and you can tear it apart.
But at the end of the day, they got a job to do too, and they're going to do it to the best of their ability. We're going to do our job to the best of our ability and see if we make it happen for the Pirates.
I've always said this about officials, and this goes way back to anything I've ever coached or watched. Or some of them just seem to have attitudes that just. Now I'll give you this: Darrell Harrison in town, super gentleman, and I'd see him on the sidelines, and I always thought I'd have him on, talking about rules and stuff like that. Just one of the greatest people of all time. So I know he's a great official.
Right.
But some of these guys, they're not in the Darrell Harrison mode. I can tell you that.
Well, no doubt. When I was in college, that's kind of how I made a little extra side money. I was an official for basketball.
I did softball in college.
I was officiating middle school basketball and JV basketball, and I got ripped a few times. So,
can you see?
I feel for the officials.
Can you see some mom at home thinking about her kid being a young kid and she's grown up, and he said, "That guy on the Pirates sideline, he was that bad official we had that year. I got a technical foul."
And then when I was I was a high school football coach for a few years there, so I started out my career. I also coached the middle school basketball team. I got 2 T's like back to back, got kicked out of a game, got ejected. So we'll try to keep that away from the sidelines in Delhi Ficklin.
Wow, I tell you what, things you didn't know about Blake Herrell.
That's right.
That you learned today here on the Brian Bailey Show. Coach, thanks again for coming in. We certainly appreciate it. I know it's in camp and you're busy, but we certainly hope to have you. Hope to have you back on when we get ready to talk about a bowl game coming up later on this season. So
I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for having me on. Like I said the other day, if I can just do my job as good as yours,
I appreciate
I'll be here
that
for a long time.
I appreciate that. Blake Herrell here on the season debut of the Brian Bailey Show. We'll see you back here at noon next Tuesday. JDB, John David Baker, will be our guest, and we'll see you then.